Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.co's weekend offering, our broiler chicken show. There we are. We're live on YouTube now. I actually was trying to post that YouTube link in the lounge several times. I actually asked a few people that came into the video here today to also post it. I don't know. I'll make it an effort, especially right after we're done here, to blog this out, because for some reason YouTube and WordPress are fighting us with that post. I don't know why. We are moving to a new website, and actually Stuart's been working away, and he told me this morning that it's pretty much almost all done. They're just working on sort of the polishing of it now, so a lot better chat functions and a lot more bells and whistles I know everybody would really like to be able to use. So can't wait for that. Super excited. New site members and new crypto enthusiasts. I really hope you guys have learned kind of a valuable lesson here over the summer. Very different market state versus last spring and early summer. Obviously an excellent anecdote as to risk management and trying to put yourself into a position where you don't ever like one day wake up and go, oh shit, I'm wiped out. That just, it just sucks when it happens. It really does. I hope what you guys have seen on the site, I mean, we have had a few treats along the way. One of our purchases from like forever ago, and this is actually really why I like to run the little old lady sort of ninny nibbles approach to these stories, is you never know what the hell's going to happen in this space, guys. You really don't. And a lot of the purchases that I've been doing recently over the past month or so actually look a heck of a lot like what we were doing when we bought into this name, just simply trying to hunt low ends of ranges and sneaking our way in. A really good idea to try and hunt structure to try and help you, good old W's. This fill looks to me, just eyeballing it, like I probably did a reload zone off of this range here, trying to work off of this bottom. I find it's interesting how we have part of our community that are like, Brian, I really want to be active on a daily basis and, day trading and generating income that way. There's also a big part of our community that's kind of like, well, Brian, I'm a doctor, lawyer, truck driver, whatever. It doesn't really matter. I got a full-time 9 to 5 and I can't really babysit trades. Totally fine. Completely different universes. But you can approach these the concept of it, our signals, our levels, pretty much the same way. It's just a question of just really when you are quote unquote trading, just to try and have a bit finer tune, a bit sharper of a knife when you're in there actually taking trades, because you'd like to see performance and your risk window is relatively limited. So again, using things like W's to help you, especially W's off of W's, whether it be reload zones, whatever. I could definitely see the trader interested in taking a trade off of these levels. And the trader would be like taking profits in here. But guys, I got to tell you, there's an old adage in the market that just, says that the wealth accumulation process is really it's the transfer of wealth from the impatient to the patient. And in a case like this, if you can build your trading plan to just force yourself to stay in trades, you never know what the hell's going to happen. And what was really interesting is I even remember when I did up this chart previously, and I love to do these charts, just connect the dots. The market, in a weird sort of way through this price action, is telling you what actually is very potentially, how do you say this? Potentially on the table? I don't know. as a potential of being a potential down the road if this story works. And sure enough, right? I'll be, gall darn. I think that's basically where this thing wants to go. And really, I'm not in the business of predicting markets. All I really want to do is just try and find an edge where statistically what I'd like to see happen happens versus not, the opposite happening. But in this kind of scenario, remember, this is the trade down here. The traders are like, okay, I'm gone, 2-to-1 risk reward, whatever. But I sure hope you guys can see what ends up happening to the patient in this world and how sometimes it actually is in your best interest to try and stay in trades as long as possible. It's just a fascinating conversation. And, the irony of it all is I don't know where the hell this is going to end. I'd probably end somewhere up in here, but little old lady, she's just going to simply just keep, spoon feeding the market as this thing goes up. And, as you can see, we just got our, 5th or 6th double off on this thing. So it's an interesting way that I participate in the market in that I'm not going to call tops. And frankly speaking, I don't really want to call tops. What I really want to do, and hopefully everybody can also see the incredible power in concepts like reloading on names. On this particular one, I didn't reload, but hopefully you guys can see the numerous opportunities to reload on this one as well. Yeah, we might go. That's actually a good way of looking at it. Jeremy says we may call for the moon, but we're not going to call top. And his Jeremy's experience on this crazy coin should be a testament to everyone that what we really want to do is make money from trading. And Jeremy had the wherewithal to have a bunch of orders working on this crazy thing all the way up top. And he got rewarded. I can't print, sold half on double, sold half on double, sold half on blah, 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 whatever, right? But he can. Why? Because he's approaching this as a business, and in essence, that's what his plan said to do. So he had the orders working, and he got paid big time. So great example of you never know what the hell's going to happen in this crazy ass space. So interesting start to today's conversation, but it sort of struck me when I saw that AEON. And really it was interesting. We had our team meeting and it was kind of like, okay, you guys know what the hell's going on here? And everybody's like, I don't know what the fuck's going on here. I don't know. Do you know anything about these guys? Yeah, one of these anonymous coins. Yeah, that's right, Michael. And where were you? We would have been nice to have your input in that meeting too. Anyway, that's here another. Always a good idea. I always like to start off, and really I wanted to start off the video today with just a quick shout out to some messages that people have given me. It's great to see, and it sure makes me feel happy and proud. I'm getting feedback from the site members that they really appreciate the time and effort that we're putting in here. And I just wanted to give shout outs. It's very obvious, guys, when this is like a two-way street. So Jamie, I mean, it's so obvious the hard work you're putting in. Thank you very much for the love. And I really appreciate, people like Jamie's contribution to the community. It's great. It's such a win-win for everybody. So thank you, Jamie. Just wanted to give you a shout out. Jeremy doing an absolute fabulous job with his weekly sort of TRI team meetings. Payman has been popping in and contributing some great sort of fundamental driver information on crypto. James doing a great job. James and Garrett totally have my back through the level oneers. I see them working away in the background. So, big special hats off and thank you to those guys. And as I said, Jeremy, captain of our team meetings. We had a great team meeting here today. Wanted to give you a big shout out and thank you. And of course, great contributions in the lounge for all the new people to the site. Let's see. Don't know whether that gentleman I needed to make reference to. Some students, if our tutorials are just a little too short and you just had a couple questions that you wanted to ask, I think it's a good idea, and I've suggested this one gentleman, just put like a little question sheet together, if you will. And we could even like float it, and so Stanley had some extra questions in the coming out of his tutorial that we just didn't have time to. So it's not a bad idea that maybe we create like a communal question sheet for the level oneers. So just a shout out to you. And James, Garrett, maybe even some of our other veterans that would like to participate will come in. Certainly think of it like a frequently asked questions sheet. So Stanley, with regard to your questions, I think I might go that route. So watch out for that in your Telegram groups, guys. So I just wanted to make reference to that. I do understand, and I am seeing this a lot. I hope new people to the site really appreciate that you're in a community where there are some people that are like full-time gung-ho. There are other people that are like, this is part-time passive. Half of our battle here needs to be to actually figure out who you are and where does crypto and trading fit into your life. A big part of this school program was to give you the opportunity in the level one, and that level one program is going to be automated for any site members that are wanting to take that level one program in the new year. So in the new term, there'll be a new intake. For the people that are in the level one course right now, super important you take this opportunity to really get in touch with, okay, what is the actual workload of a day trader? And frankly speaking, you want to be a day trader, it is a profession. It is a full-time job. I don't know whether you're ready for that or not. If you want to be a passive investor because you have a full-time career, that is a perfectly acceptable route. And there's a hell of a lot of money to be made going that route as well. So don't get me wrong. It's not like it's a money issue here. The question ultimately, though, is you have to figure out what you can commit to on a consistent basis in the market. And this is interesting, even just seeing the various participants in today's broiler chicken show here today, because they, quite a few of them, I know for certain that they're committed to this. This is their profession. This is their life. And so I see them often, a lot of our veterans, day in, day out, just basically this is their career, this is their life. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's you. And it's really important to figure out what that balance is. Please don't approach trading like you can say, well, okay, I'm kind of gung-ho this week, but next week, the market's kind of soft, so I'm just going to sort of put that aside. You start doing that, you start going down that road, and you're asking for trouble. My advice to you is, if you're going to build a plan, build the plan around what the expectation is, and then implement the plan. You have to commit to the plan. And if that means you got to take 20 goddamn El Tangonators off of a 15-minute chart because you want to learn how to be a day trader and you want to convince your subconscious of the validity of the setup, then that's what you got to do. And if you do want to learn that profession, you're going to actually have to invest some serious time into this, because this is a profession, no doubt about it, guys. So, but that doesn't mean you have to participate in the market that way. We don't all have to be day traders. And one reason why I built the little old lady Nanny Nibbles portfolio to begin with was just to simply demonstrate you don't have to be in the market 24/7 glued to a screen. You can just simply go and buy against lows with a small percentage of your portfolio and bang out doubles as the market pays you, just like we showed you on that AEON. So really, this all comes down to you. That's got to be the big message of the Broiler Chickens show today. This has nothing to do with this idiot who sits here and babbles away from wastes everybody's time for hours-long videos. He's just barking opinion. Hopefully, through all that ramble, you're picking up this sort of framework of how a professional approaches the market. But absolutely, number one goal from the get-go is we got to identify you. where you want to go and what's the best way to get you to that objective. What's the most efficient use of your time, and what are you ready to commit to? All right, there's my rant for the day, but I thought that was a really important message that I had to get out, especially to new people that have come to crypto since, like I hear people, I've been trading crypto for 4 months. Oh, Jesus. Somebody like that has got trouble written all over them because they don't understand this is a very cyclical business. And if you really want to do well at this business, you got to be able to roll with the punches. All right. Brian will get off his pulpit now. Last comment I want to make, and somebody had sent me a PM here. Andrew, I really apologize if you can't watch this right now. Or if you're having trouble with the site. Julian's actually in the process of moving right now, so he's kind of tough to get a hold of. I apologize. I said I was going to fix you up here this weekend, and I'm having a bit of trouble figuring out on my own end, so please bear with me, Andrew, if you are watching this later on. Okay, so I just want to make reference to that. Specific shout out to Andrew. Most of today should really be just talking about your ideas. I really want you guys to feel like you're participating in this conversation. And if you do have ideas that you'd like me to look at, I want to review them. I think it'd just take a couple minutes to talk a little bit about the broader market. Given the seasonality of the market, given the time of year, should it really surprise us that the market is sort of uppy and near the top end of its trading range? No, I don't think so. I am very interested in the NASDAQ short trade idea. We have watched it rally back into resistance, so I'm keeping a close eye on that. Where do I have that chart? Over here. So I want to see how the options are going to behave. Even now with price at this level, the options are still too expensive. They're sitting about 290 bid right now, and I want to pay about maybe 2.25 or so, something like that, 2.25, 2.5. So I still got to wait a little bit. So let's see how this plays out. If they go and bust this thing out to new highs, then maybe I'll just put the idea on the back burner for the time being. Looks to me like we should really look for some sort of failure up in this area here against these wicks. Jeremy was saying in our meeting this weekend that we have Drahi speaking at the end of the week. So I got a funny feeling, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, probably not going to see a heck of a lot of resistance in the market, but maybe getting ahead of his speech. Maybe that's when we see a bit of a top come in here. And if I look at things like the S&Ps, they're actually pushing them to new highs. So I'm actually getting worried now here, guys. We're actually going to start setting up. To be honest with you, the normal healthy correction would have been the better way for this market to go. If we are actually going to rally now into October, this is setting up very much the crash scenario, which scares the hell out of me because this could be really ugly. So the fact that they've broken the stocks to new highs, we just had our EVU and it pivoted up through that EVU. Oh boy, this is not good. I can feel the blow off top coming here. I'm not quite sure why, but you can definitely feel it. Willie's incredibly stupid right now, so please don't chase the stock market right here. I don't know how this top is going to develop, but man, oh boy, this is getting bothersome. I wouldn't be surprised if we see stocks have some sort of pop here. And the interesting thing about this, guys, this is the kick in the pants for a guy like me. And just to finish the other thought, for the broader market, I'm actually still very interested in shorting the euro. So still watching for this trade. And we do have the order working here. But again, the option prices are very expensive right now. So I'm not going to chase it. So both of these ideas are still on the table. This order is working. This one, I haven't got the order working. I'm just watching right now. But in an interesting sort of way, I actually think right now that Bitcoin is actually acting as a bit of a leading indicator. You notice the AB equals CD on the QQQs off of this 4 hour, and then we look down at Bitcoin and it's got this AB equals CD working as well. In a weird sort of way, I actually feel like Bitcoin is a leading indicator right now. You know, we had this breakout here. Hats off to, you know, heading on over to Bitcoin now. Hats off to, we had one site member who he got extremely bullish off of this fractal bottom. You can see the bot setup level. So interestingly enough, the bot actually likes that level as well. Market's just sort of churning its way higher here. I don't see really any top present. You can see, though, we are coming into this reload zone. So if we are going to expect traffic, if we're going to expect resistance, my hunch is it's probably up against these highs into this candle right here. Which just so happens to be, look how that lines up with that ABC perfectly, eh? That's remarkable. I wouldn't even be surprised if we have some sort of push up into here, and then we get a couple weeks of back and forth like this. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Or actually days, right? So this actually might be like Monday, Tuesday, and then like we said, Drahi and stuff speaking on the weekend, we go into this kind of thing. For the people that did take this trade, if you're just looking at this simple bot setup, a tag of that AB equals CD level implies that absolute worst case scenario, this thing comes back down to the original fractal level. Those people would just simply walk away and scratch. But I don't see any signs of that just yet. The old adage, right? Higher highs and higher lows defines a bull market. So higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low so far. As long as that keeps happening, I can't see how you make the bear case. So, you know, put it all together. I think when we look at sort of lower time frames, some really interesting levels did come in here. This is a really cool example of trend channels. Let's see, what chart do I want to show you? I like to sort of listen to the temperament of the Japanese, because I think to a certain degree they're kind of like a sleeping giant, if you will, in this space. Not a lot of people respect the purchasing power of the Japanese, but I've always, maybe it's because I was an 80s kid, right? But I've always had a healthy respect for the Japanese economy. So I do like to watch how Japan trades. And we did this, I guess, last week for the level tours. Just a simple concept of drawing trend channels. And I did notice that somebody in the lounge had asked this morning, well, okay, well, you want to tell the rest of us how to do this? I mean, you can go in the library and just look and check out I got it in here somewhere. Symmetrical studies. Thought I had channels in here. How to draw trend lines? Anyway, it's in one of these. It's probably over here. There we are. Horizontal support, resistance, and drawing trend lines. So you can always look at this slideshow at any time you want. But the long and short of it here is this trend line, boobity-boo, you actually project it up off of this previous peak here, and it creates this channel. And it's really cool how the market, especially here, right, goes zipping above the channels, gapping higher. The public, of course, they're all like rah, 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 but actually the market really wanted to key off of that level and back up and then back to that level, right? There's clearly something important about that there. And then, we can do that same logic off of, and this is an interesting one. So I went here to here, and then I went off of this high here. So that created this price channel. And I thought it was just really interesting as we were sort of marching our way higher here, how we failed right there. And then how we had this confluence of these two channels right there. And that just so happened to be exactly right on the head and shoulders level. And then, of course, you zoom in and you go, damn. I mean, it's just stunning to watch this stuff develop. I don't know. Sure hope you guys understand the premise behind channels now and how we can use them. In fact, you could even just, real-time example. It's a bit steep. Yeah, actually, you'd have to go off of that one there. So not really relevant, but that's definitely a channel. That would actually explain why it went so deep there. So everybody's like, well, Brian, you got to show me something that I can use. So let's maybe go down to like 15 minutes. Let's see what we get. Yeah, that was a tough top up there, right? You could draw these channels. Actually, that's probably the most relevant. So that would be the bottom of that move up to there. So let's see. Actually, it'd be really interesting to see if price craps out here, if it has to come back and revisit that line. That will be interesting. Let's see if we can give you an example that I can use. Here, here. Really, we can go off of all of these levels. I think actually the market's keying off of that. That makes sense. So that double top projected off of that low sort of paints why the market pivoted there. I think that's actually your trading channel. This actually be really cool. So I'll leave this on the screen. Let's review it tomorrow. I don't think we're going to come back to here, but you never know. My hunch is the market wants to come back to here. Let's see what happens. That'll be a fun experiment. And profile-wise, I think that makes sense too, right? You can see there's a whole bunch of unfinished business in there. I suppose, let's see if that lines up with some fibs. And I'll do the whole thing. Yeah, look at that, eh? So, this is where we sort of like, this is the idea of sort of trade location by committee. Nice WP, Brian, value, magic. Okay. Is this stronghold counter for real this time, or will they extend it? Probably again. Okay. Maybe you can elaborate crypto exchange, but just to finish this thought, right? Can you see how we have this channel off of the bottom, this channel right here? We have the profile. We have 38.2 coming against these lows. Funny little tail right there. Can you see how this is basically sort of painting a trade location window? Then you go down to your indicators. If they're going into divergence, then you get some sort of structure that develops. Then you actually get yourself a nice little setup. Does that make sense? I always think it's best to start off with trade location. Me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of taking trades at 38.2s. This could be pretty volatile through here. If anything, what I would want if I was trading this. In fact, actually, we saw this on Bitcoin recently, right? Because I was like, oh, I want a damn reload zone. Give me a reload zone. Then it finally comes down into a higher time frame, 38.2, then jackknifes back up, right? And this would be like the bigger Bitcoin chart, right? And so reload zone within reload zone, we want to probably start hunting shorts against all these highs up here, right up in there. There we get a nice little M, and that would be sexy sex. So anyway, kind of a funny tangent I went on there. Hopefully that was interesting demonstration for you. Now, what are you guys going on about over here? Let's go like this. And you want me to look at stronghold.co. Oh yeah, that was this Michael. Is Michael still here? Oh, Michael took off. You must have known that you were going to talk about this. How it lines up with 38.2 and channel what I meant with magic. Yeah, isn't that cool? It's and really the point here is not so much that this is a trade, but at least this paints a window for you to start thinking about location. Is it really such a good idea to take a long or short here? I don't know. I mean, maybe you could justify shorting against this M up here. But if we get down into here and we start getting bullish turns and stuff, considering the power of 38.2, looking for that bounce, I think makes a lot of sense. And then coupling it with crazy ideas like drawing trend lines. In fact, we could even really do this off of here, there to there. That's probably actually more accurate. And then off of there. All right, that's probably more accurate. But now at least you get nice little channel confluence right in a notch, right at 38.2. Once we get down into that area, then you can start thinking, all right, and my hunch is you're going to hear a lot of FUD and a lot of, right? And if you start seeing the internal signs of turn, then, at least you have some confidence in the level. Okay, bigger picture, I think, guys, if anything, what I'd really like is for this asset to go sideways for the next 6 months. That I think would be awesome, because it would frustrate people to all end, and it would remove a lot of the fluff, and it would also sort of solidify a base here around $3,000. And that's sort of this triangle thesis. But, if the bots that we were showing you earlier, if this thesis plays out, then obviously that's off the table. Are you rooting for bot, or are you rooting for triangle? Because you say, please. I don't know which one you want. Really, I might argue if we fail in RLZ here, then that supports this sort of triangle thesis. And I do notice that Bitcoin loves to rally into the end of the year. So let's see what kind of demand here there is. And really, once we get beyond the new year, we have to be cognizant. Bitcoin loves to dump after the new year, just loves to. And we often see the altcoins bottom January, February. It's so cliche, guys. It really is. And then, of course, we have to understand the Chinese. Well, actually, I don't know whether we can say Chinese anymore, but OKCoin forwards. Their next rollover is on the 29th. And you just saw how on this last forward contract rollover, they just literally brought price right back down to that original level. Hold on a second right now. Okay, so it is interesting how we have rallied smartly off the lows, and I was commenting in our group meeting that I kind of thought that it felt like they were rallying or off the lows because somebody knew ahead of time about this China unban stuff. I don't know whether you're familiar with that, but the scuttlebutt and what I was sort of tweeting out this morning because somebody else was tweeting it. And actually, somebody, I think, even posted in the lounge. So thank you very much for doing that. But the scuttlebutt right now is that, and, really, I could argue that this actually is perfect for this scenario. I think China, if this is accurate, and don't get me wrong, you never know what the hell until it actually is sort of verified. But if this talk is correct, then this is almost going to be like, well, the authorities just want to keep track of who's doing what and make sure you're paying your taxes. But it's not if you own or do business in cryptocurrencies, you're going to be shot on site. which, that's, and in this crazy world, you never know how this is going to go. So if you are a crypto enthusiast, this should be, music to your ears. At the same time, too, though, we do have to understand price, and no doubt about it, we're in the blow off top phase. No doubt about that whatsoever in my mind. And actually, what I was warning the guys today, and this is going to be my message over the next few months, is if the entire crypto space all rallies in unison and we just go into some major orgy buying spree, and all you hear about is crypto, 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 well, guys, that's the top. If anything, what I would prefer to see over the next month or two is a bit of consolidation, maybe a little bit of FUD around the upcoming fork on Bitcoin. Payment that is supposed to happen early November, correct? So, we should probably have links and sort of keep our ears to the ground about potential FUD coming in off of that. And as well, if I'm not mistaken, Ethereum also is supposed to have a pretty big event coming up as well. ETH fork is on October 17th. So if anything, if we're bulls, we'd actually prefer to see price just sort of calm down here a bit. I mean, as I said, as a long-term crypto bull, what I'd actually like to see is us just park ourselves in this triangle and clean up for the next 6 months, which of course nobody here wants to have happen. But as a long-term bull, this is what I would prefer to see through this event window. If we are setting up for yet another new high, then you can see that we're setting up for trouble. If anything, let's keep cognizant. And, this is just like any other coin. And we all should understand this. Little old lady is sitting there with her next sell orders, getting ready, and will, basically start spoon feeding the market more coin up top here if this should happen. But at the same time, if we do roll over here off of these shorter time frames, right through our reload zone here, we start aiming out, we hit the ABC objective, I won't have a problem letting the market have a bit of coin up top here. So understand that that's basically where I'm sitting right now. I think for the time being, right, over the short term, we're still pointed up. Could we pull back here a bit? Sure. If anything, we did a demonstration earlier, and I don't know whether I have the chart around here or not. But for the level 2ers, it was kind of a fun demonstration. Too many charts, too many charts. God, I could talk about all of these darn charts. Yeah, I don't think I have it open anymore. Fudge. Anyway, I did the institutional bias system for them, and it was a really cool demonstration. I was hoping I could just throw it on a chart here, but I don't have anything I can, fudge. Well, let's do it on here. BTC. If we ever want to just see what the institutions are thinking, we should just do a nice little institutional study. And you can just take what the heck are the institutions thinking? You just grab 2 exponential moving averages. We're going to set one of them to 9 as the fast moving average. We're going to set the other to 18 as our slow moving average. And really, on most institutional order desks, they're going to literally set their bias in the market based off of what these moving averages are doing. You can see that they just crossed bullishly right here. And really, that makes sense, right? There was our fractal bottom. Remember, we were talking about 2-bar confirmation, all that kind of fun stuff. So we resolved bull. All the institutions go, all right, this thing's now in a bull trend, and they are hunting long setups off of the lower time frames. So I think that's probably what we should be thinking over the short term, is how are they going to set this up for the next long entry? And I thought this was really interesting too, Because, uh-oh, what the hell's going on down here? Anybody know what do we call this when we see price making lower lows and we see our momentum indicators making higher lows? So you can actually see that they're already setting up the trade. Isn't that interesting? I don't know how this is going to develop. Wayne, you're hunting L tangonators. When you see this, your spidey senses should come alive. If we maybe pull back against these lows and put in a cute little W, there might be a nice little long setup there for you. So, and considering the higher time frame bias, that little institutional system that I just told everybody could do that. Maybe you've got yourself a nice little day trading model to work with. Okay, let's get on to your ideas and see if maybe I can help you out a little bit there. Actually, I think you'll do it the other way around. So let's go daily and 1 hour. Okay, first on the hit list, I remember we looked at, how far did we get? We did DBAs. And actually, it's interesting because I just did the corn commodity study with the level 2ers, doing that moving average system. Really interesting how they're getting really close to getting bullish on the grains. And actually, James even mentioned that in our team meeting. He was checking out the grains. Didn't quite see a TRI SOF trade there because they're just not volatile enough down here. So I don't think there's anything we need to really go into in earnest. Somebody, David Davis, and I actually saw David Davis on the site earlier today. I think he was the one who was asking about that. Yeah, he was. So hopefully he watched that video. Okay, NMR, did we look at that? Does that sound familiar? NMR. Oh yeah, another one of our saucer bottoms. And the problem here, of course, is you got this big honking tail. I don't know whether it goes as deep to fill in this saucer, but definitely I could see it going at the very least to the tail. Sure, not a heck of a lot to do there. Then I remember in the video I said I took a nibble off of here. Ain't buying anymore. Thank you very much. My bags are full and I'm sitting tight. Okay, Quark. I think I remember we talked about that. Twitter. I remember we talked about that. EMC2. All right. Basic attention token, BAT. Let's see what we got there. BA. Whoops. BAT. Yeah. Well, I mean, what I really like about our community is you're not coming to me and with coins that are like way up here. Because if you do come to me with a coin way up here, I'm going to be like, what? Come on. So that's good. Well, I was a seller. I think we talked about AEON back at the beginning of the show there, Cole. So you're going to have to watch the beginning part. I did quite a spiel of it. I mean, I've been a net seller the whole way up here, right? And you cannot buy this thing right now at all, please. All right. So, and as I said, watch today, the beginning of today's video for my rant on that. But I do like the fact that we're shopping down near the lower end of the price ranges. That's music to my ears, guys. Is this the bottom? Tough to say. Because this was a new low, right? We can definitely say we just don't have a W yet. Right? The W will actually be confirmed on a move through that high. Just like that AEON, though, totally cool example. Going and doing nanny nibbles here, I think, is exactly like going and doing our nanny nibbles when we did on this thing back here. Can you see where I bought this thing? You see sort of the similarities? Hey, look, there's a big, insane first candle. There's one similarity. Can you see how that looks awfully similar? Just going and fishing against low ends of ranges. And of course, the proof of the pudding is in the eating, right? I actually stepped in and I put my money where my mouth is and I bought here. So do you see sort of the similarities in those stories? I'm not saying that this is the bottom on this one, but I definitely like where you're thinking. At the very least, we try and keep you out of trouble by not chasing. As I had said just a moment ago, I think this thing's trying to find a bottom. And if we change this to a clothesline basis, I got a funny feeling this is one of these FU candles, right? So some guy dumped it, tried to get all of the public to go, oh, this thing's a piece of shit, dump it, dump it, dump it. But notice there was like it was on almost no volume at all. And then at the very end, last minute of the day, boom, they just bring it right back to this level. So what this sort of tells me, just looking at this price chart, is if you want to be a cheap ass and you want to pay bargain basement prices, well, that's right down at this level down in here. Does that make sense? I don't know who asked me about this. Let's see. Who asked? This is another David Davis. Man, this guy's scoring. David Davis, are you in here? Is that you, Change? Wow. Nope, that's not you. Okay, well, anyway. So yeah, I don't mind buys down in this area. See if they go after this tail down in here. I always like the idea of watching the candle body levels. Notice how this closed and this open and this closed and this open. They're all in and around that same level. So where is that? That's like 35, 3,600, somewhere in there. So, you know, I mean, if you're a trend follower, then you have to wait for this W to actually confirm. And then I might argue go and draw your Kvarks, right, and start hunting your orders off of 78.6s. And actually, we have a newest addition to the trading setup jargon. I don't know whether you guys saw this or not. Whoops, that's not the one I want. But we got a new setup that we're going to be touting here called the Leprechaun. Where this is Ian. Of course, he's our Irish fighter. Don't get in Ian's way. He absolutely loves 88.6 to 100% levels where there's a tail to be eaten, and his Arun trend indicator at that point is telling him the trend is changing. So kind of a fun little illustration. And a shout out to Ian. He's doing fantastic work. So nibble worthy, you sure? You can see the bottom end of the range. Could turn into one of these crazy AONs that pays you 5, 6, 7, 8, 900%, whatever. Is this a pound the table? Nah, not just yet. I do like, I mean, look at this. You can see money is flowing into this thing, not out of it. Through this period here, you can clearly see money was flowing out. So something's changed here. It's just a question is, do you want to pay that price way up top there? I'm a cheap ass. You know me. I probably want to be bidding down in here. So, okay. Who's next? FLDC. I've always wanted to get into this coin. Just never it comes down to my levels. I got a bunch of bids working. Totally would love to buy this thing. Let's see. These are one of these coins that everybody forgets about. And then it has these insane face rips out of absolutely nowhere. So we just went through a massive face rip. So you can clearly see they're still trying to find a bottom here. You can probably tell where Brian's probably trying to buy, right? There's the original structure. Got bids all working down in this area. Please, please, please. You can see this tail, right? That'd be interesting to do a fib off of the entire range and see if that's 88.6. You can see how it came down, put in this tight little W, and then just took off, right? And this would be one of these times where I'm like, damn it, I can't get into this foreign thing. So you can see after that rally, it had to work its way all the way back down. It is playing with this tail right now, and again, takes off. Oh, damn it, I can't get into this thing. But I got to just stick to my guns, and I got my bids working down in here, and I just got to be patient. Moving averages, the trend is clearly down, and any counter trend rallies now are going to run into a world of traffic off of this level in here. All of these highs, all of these lows, this high, this high, this high, this low, this high, these insane highs, this high, this high. You can just see there's just a world of horizontal support and resistance right in here. So with that said, you can also see OBVs kind of rolling over. Impetus, though, the bulls are waking up here. They're trying to like take over again. You can see the bull div, right, that actually confirmed on this nutso move. So actually bulls should be going into super stocking mode. And, you know, if we do put in a nice W through here, that's actually not a bad little trade setup. Oh, look at, well, you know, Willie went stupid and has put in a W here, and the W here has corresponded with this W here. So technically that is a bit of a Davo. I think that probably the Davo signal exhausted itself on this move here, because this is a fairly small bottom. So I think at present, you know, I do love the idea of getting into this thing. I've always wanted to own a bit of it. You can clearly see the setup that they've tried to develop up here. Nasty empire, though. Bang, 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 right? So somebody does not want this thing to go any higher than here right now. I mean, nibble-worthy, totally. I think it's totally nibble-worthy. I'm a cheap ass, though, and I think I identified some levels down in here that I wanted to buy against. So I've got the bids working down there. Could I make the argument to maybe step up and do a little bit of nibbling here? It's not a terrible idea. Like, you can see how high the highs, and if they do this kind of nuts-on-this. But even if we just go off of clotheslines, I think there's some money to be made here. So if we just do a clothesline fib, assuming that we're at or near some sort of low. 38.2, so here we are buying at 270. We could get 653 on a 38.2. That's like almost a triple. You know, it's a little less than a triple. You know, well over a double. So I think there is money to be made here, though. I just don't know whether this is the bottom. I think it's somewhere down in this area. Then just a 50% retracement, 786. So buying down here in the 200s, I think that's very attractive. The risk reward, I think, is totally there. So. Okay, so nibble worthy, yeah. Pound the table, maybe a bit early, but I do like what I see. RBCN on the NASDAQ. RBCN on the NASDAQ. Let's go. Candles. Oh boy, what a mess. Rubicon. I seem to remember these guys from years ago. But that was Rubicon Minerals. So probably something totally different. Boy. Gee whiz. I think we've looked at this before, haven't we? I mean, you know, the problem with stocks is technically there is no technical bottom. Well, were we able to put the YouTube link on the page? I don't think we tried earlier, Stephen. We just couldn't get it to work. So, but I think the guys got it to work. Anyway, So, unfortunately with stocks, right, they can dilute the crap out of the stock, keep doing private placements and stuff, which keeps diluting the value of the shares. I think on balance, it sure looks to me like here's the bottom end of your range, and notice they left a bit of a gap right here. So also another gap right there, and another gap right there. There's a doji gap. Ooh, there's another gap there. So you can see this is like Swiss cheese. Lots of levels to work with off the bottom here. So here we are, and those are like 450, $5, 550 below value, filling in these notches. Here we are sitting at 8.25. Technically, that's a tough pill to swallow. What I also see too here, which is a little disturbing, is boom, 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 probably up to boom, and uh-oh. So I don't know whether I'd be in a really big hurry here. This is a really shitty trade location. With these stories, it'd be really interesting to see what the buying event was right in here. You can clearly see that momentum turned violently off of this event. It's the bottom of bottom of value, really notchy. Some hunches, there's still some unfinished business down in here. Then, of course, well, not of course. But if this comes on a big dump and a big amount of volume, does that mean that value gets dragged lower? And you might find that we have to go down and explore into here to find a new value low. So, it's a tough one. I mean, I suppose in the short term, if you're a rah-rah bull, you could go boobity boom and clone that and project that off of there. So if you're trading this on the very short-term basis, but we saw this happen in Bitcoin. They love to do this. You can see how there's a narrow sideways channel that's trying to form here. It looks to me, but it looks like they've tried to wash this a couple of times. Looks to me almost like the bottom of the channel is this candle here. And then there's these gaps here. Ooh, this is a mess. You can see the double top, right? The double top would be a fail there. So I think something like that. Close either above or below this level, and it's a narrow sideways channel breakout, and play the AB equals CD continuation pattern. But me being a cheap ass value hunter, considering the time of year, I don't think I would be interested in that trade. And I would be definitely thinking about being a buyer down in here. So it'd actually be interesting to do a log scale, because I wouldn't be surprised if log scale these numbers line up. So let's see what happens. It's not huge. But actually, yeah. So, and it's hard to do this on log. It never works right. But there to there is probably, if we clone that, the same distance as there to there. Right? If I do clone that and copy it over, the line gets all screwed up. But in essence, something like there to there, right? Does that make sense? Can you see that? Anyone? I don't know. Okay, maybe yes, maybe no. Okay, let's move on. ZEC. ZEC. Well, cute little double bottom tried to come in. Sure looks like 38.2 stopped that bull in its tracks, eh? Holy moly. What a perfect example. Obviously, if you're a bull, you really don't want to see that. But very, very good example of 38.2 stopping a bull in its tracks. And I suppose looking at this on log scale, you can see that, oh boy, there's a bit of risk here. especially the way this profile looks. Oh boy, this looks awfully empty down here. So if you are a bull and we lose these levels, be damn careful. I don't mind sort of nanny nibbles because when we look at price on a regular scale, right, it looks like that. I don't mind taking my long shots. Simply looking to be a buyer right down in here. Is it justifiable to pay up here? I think, man, again, a little bit outside of value. And interesting how you can see this double top, this M top, and how that the fail of the M top is the 78.6. So very simply put, the market tried to accept outside of value here, and it just couldn't find buyers. Right? The buyers it just wasn't enough. And in fact, probably halfway through the day, sellers actually stepped up and brought this thing back down to earth. There is the original double bottom level. So if this thing is a bull, you should see this level respected. But you can clearly see, right? Ran up to it, tried to accept above it. Here's, if anything, good example of two-bar confirmation. Those people who are two-bar confirmation aficionados, they would say, nope, that did not break out. I think for the time being, we're playing in this range, and it almost looks like a carbon copy, this and this. All right, do you see the similarities? You guys ever heard me talk about market symmetry? So we can take this study, like this, there. It's quite remarkable how the market does this. Didn't get any counter trend rally love here, but it is interesting how we're getting this sort of play here. Very similar. Does that mean at the end of this play we got to have one more washout move against these lows? Could be. That might fill in the gap here. Totally possible. But at the same time, somebody stepped up and put quite a bit of money into this here. So, great example of perfectly acceptable trade location. You've got confirmed divergence actually finally came in here. Willie was stupid. Volumes coming in. Nice bottom. Step right up and place your bets. Ride the Ferris wheel. Oh. Are you a betting man? I can see plenty of reasons to take your shot. But there's no guarantees in this business. I'm a Monero man. All right, there you go. I used to be a big steel man. I don't know whether you remember that or not. Do we have any Canadians in here? No Canadians? If there's any Canadians that watch this video later on, they're gonna chuckle out of that. All right, next on the hit list, BitBay, B-A-Y. B-A-Y. Oosh. Wow, it's like a carbon copy. Are these guys in the same business? Cute little coin. And what's really interesting is in the lounge this morning, I had sort of made reference to this in that, can you guys see, like this is an anecdote, the difference between buyers markets and sellers markets. Ideally, if we're buyers, do we want to really be active in a seller's market? What does it mean to be a seller's market? It means if prices bid up, sellers are getting great prices and they love it. We really don't want to be a buyer in sellers markets. Conversely, when prices are down, right, sellers are taking whatever they can possibly get, right? And buyers are getting great prices. That's what we call a buyer's market. And I, in the lounge, I sort of made this reference that it sure felt like we were transitioning, that through the spring and through the early part of the summer, we were definitely in a seller's market. Sellers could dictate terms. The buyers were euphoric. They were actually borderline stupid. And it just got a little idiotic there. But I feel as though we've now transitioned, and I think this is a great example of at least now buyers, they're getting rewarded for their patience. This one in particular, you can see it's put in very cute little bottoms, got nice moving average turns. I think we're a little bit early to declare a rip roaring bull. You can see a 200 SMA stopping this thing in its tracks. You can see there's a bit of a fight here at value high. Maybe momentum's exhausted itself a little bit here in the short term. But if we saw, rallies up into reload zones, right, then we're getting back into sellers types of markets where the sellers are going to be enjoying really great prices. I would actually argue, and this is a pretty good example, it's so nice and clean and simple, is right now, if you can, look at the market and spend the next couple months, right? You don't have to go shoot your whole wad here over the next week or two. This one here, I could easily see it just sort of meandering here for the next couple months. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. But in essence, we've transitioned from oh, fuck, you can't buy this thing. Come on, don't buy this thing, to, all right, well, now we can start, accumulating, hunting setups if you're using leverage or margin off the lower time frames, really sharpshooter setups here, and really little old ladies in there nibbling off of Kvark levels and stuff. We're now, in my opinion, transitioning into a buyer's market, which is fantastic, because the irony of this game is that when everybody else isn't interested, when everybody else isn't jazzed, when everybody else is distracted by other things going on in the market, that's when we as professionals actually need to be most interested and most active and most jubilant. We do the exact opposite. Then, of course, when everybody else is partying and champagne, we're sitting there shaking our heads going, you guys are idiots. But you want to buy my coins at these high prices? Here you go. Boom, boom, banging out doubles. Do you guys get how this game works? So I would actually argue that, and here's just yet another example. Maybe this isn't the bottom, but we're definitely in locations where over the next month or two, right, this is exactly the time of year that I would expect the bottoms to come in. Just business as usual. Okay, let's see. SONM BTC, SON USD, SNM USD. Jeez, this guy's got a lot of S and M's in his life. SOMN. Okay, nothing came up for that. NM. Oh, there. Not on Bitrex. Oh. Okay. SONM. SOMN. Oh. Okay. Is it one of these? Cryptopia? SOSNM? I'll get it right one of these days. Yobit. Ooh, this is good quality. Liquid. Wow, sure has been around a while, eh? Jeez. It's not a bad looking chart. I mean, I wouldn't buy it here. Definitely look to try and buy it against these lows. Is there a gap right there? It's interesting considering it doesn't trade on any of those other exchanges. It's a pretty clean chart. Whoop, a little bit of a gap right there. There's a level. Right there. Doink. But surprisingly, look how clean this is. A little bit of a funny action down in there. Where was that? Right there. And there's also one there. Okay, so let's see what that does. Boosh. Yeah. So I think it makes sense why the market stopped there and why the market stopped there. I don't know. Right here, tough to justify stepping up here. I do like down in here and, of course, right down off the original bottom. That's the hourly chart. Let's go to like a daily chart. Oh, actually, it hasn't been around that long. Well, you know, I know one Kavarkanator who would be interested in this. You can see all the W's. Probably actually, wow, and that really would have tested your resolve, that move there. But at this bar right here would have given you your fills against these candle body lows. Notice that that's where those gaps are too, eh? So you can clearly see where the quote-unquote smart money, whales, whatever, where they're long. Right here, nothing really to write home about. Probably something like this. And maybe this is where Ian's setup comes in. We'll go real super cheap. Interesting. Look, so Ian's 88.6 is going to give you the fills right at those gaps. 78.6 gets you in here. That's funny. So, you know, if you're going to be working bids, looks like we painted you a window. And really that makes sense, right? Because that's off the original bottom there. Okay, I think we've done justice to that one. I suppose upsides, because it does have a bottom working. Where can it go upside? Oh, hello. So you can see there's this big old hole in the charts right up there. So there's your range. Actually, it's interesting, right? So from 2000, you could see 6 or triple your money. Is it worth maybe just throwing a buck at this thing and just placing your order to sell at 6? Not a bad idea. It's below the ICO price. This is Ian's trade. All right, not that long. You're on hourly. I never seen Ian smile though. Have you seen his picture? Show me a smile on Ian's face. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. It's his passport photo. Hey, I'm supposed to be doing my passports right now. Holy shit, you're not allowed to smile on those passport photos. Okay, guys, I've been blabbing away here for about an hour or so. Hope you guys enjoyed the presentation. We got through a bunch of coins here. We'll pick up with EGC first thing in the morning. And we'll wish you all an awesome rest of your day. I hope you guys are enjoying the site. And if you have any questions, of course, totally feel free to PM me or message me or whatever you'd like. As well, Julian is on the site, as well as Sjord, James for students. Should be a whole bunch of supports here to try and help you on the site. And please understand, guys, and I know it's going to be a tough pill for a lot of new people to swallow, maybe not worth a site subscription, but we are transitioning to this new website. So a lot of the site functionality is really clunky right now. We just haven't updated it. So I apologize in advance for that. But hopefully you find, through these videos, we do 6 days a week. Through some of the trades I'm doing, all of the trades that I'm doing for the little old lady, I'm reporting on the crypto page. And as well, broader market ideas, things like Euro put options and stuff. Hopefully you see some good value in that. So. Okay, so have yourselves a great rest of your day. All the best. Feedback totally appreciated, how I can make these videos better for you. And of course, understand we are moving to the new site, so there's going to be a whole bunch of new bells and whistles for you guys to play with then. So I'll leave it at that. Have yourselves a great day, everybody. All the best, and bye for now.